Okay, Hilda, you're good to go.
Okay, well, welcome to class, and what a nice evening to just be indoors and learn to paint. So we're going to do a winter painting. As you can see, there's snow, trees, there's the sky, and we're going to do this step by step. We're going to do the sky first, the mountains, the greenery, and bushes in the back, and then twigs, branches that don't have any greenery on them. And it's not hard, it's really easy, and it's easy because I'm going to walk you step by step. I didn't have a handout because it's not hard at all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch out I'm going to sketch out on this piece of paper an outline, and then what you will do is you'll sketch it on your watercolor paper with a pencil, not a pen, a pencil. So this is just to show you what you're going to do on your paper, so that you can see with the marker. So what you will do is you'll halfway, you'll make like a slope. This is the first slope, a snow slope here. Then you're going to add another, then you're going to add the mountains up on this side over here. And if I go too fast, don't worry, you'll be able to watch the recording and kind of do it over again if you'd like. So see how easy these are? They're just 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on this side, you'll make another slope. Here's another snow slope like this, just like that. And then right here, another line. So there is very minimal drawing. Look at how many lines there are here. It's just really simple. And so for visuals, I did it with the marker so that you can see how to transfer these lines onto your watercolor paper. So it's really easy. I don't know if you can see the pencil lines. I hope you can, but see how easy this is. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, if you're really good at drawing, you could even maybe draw, what is it? Yosemite, the mountain there. That would be cool. So once you have your drawing, we're going to learn how to mix colors, and we're going to do the sky first. So are we there? Hopefully we are. And if the pencil marks are too dark, you can take an eraser and kind of erase some of the lines if they show too dark. So we're going to paint with 3 colors. With the blue and the yellow, you'll be able to make beautiful greens, light greens and dark greens. With the blue and the pink color that you were provided with, you'll be able to make beautiful purples. You can see here that I added a little bit of purple in here and then just a little bit of pink. And these are the greens that you will be making with these 2 colors, some of the greens. And then the browns, we will do that halfway through the lesson. So I know that you're all anxious to get started, so let's get started. I'm anxious to paint. I'm using a size 8 brush, round. It's a watercolor brush. What you want to do is you're going to just take clean water with your brush, and you're going to put water basically on this whole area here, all this area up to the mountain lines. So I like to start like this, just around the mountain line. And I'm just using water. See how I'm using the tip of my brush to go around the mountaintops? Just like this. And just put water all over. And now look at how I'm using my brush. I'm going across. I'm going across with it. I'm using it this way. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm using the flat of the brush to go across the paper, just like this. You want to cover this with all this water. No paint yet, just water. Just clean water. And then sometimes what I like to do is I like to tip my paper to see where there maybe is a dry area that I didn't put water on. So that way I can see where there's a dry area and I can cover it with the water again. And I can see that there's a couple of dry areas there. Now, if you had a large brush or a flat brush, of course, you would be able to cover this really fast, but I'm using the same brush size that you have. Okay. So there's water there, just up to the mountaintops. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to mix our beautiful blue colors. Okay. And notice how it's darker at the top and I left some white here, darker over here. And then I went a little bit darker around the mountaintops. And then I added a little splash of purple or pinky color there. It's up to you. And then what happened with the water, because it was very loose with water, kind of made little patterns in there, little designs that I just really loved. And so this is the magic about of watercolors. So now what you want to do on your palette, and these paints are very high quality, professional grade paints. They're by Daniel Smith, and just a little dab of paint will go a long way. You can see how it just goes a long way. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take some blue, and right now I'm mixing a light blue, and less water, more pigment will make your color dark. So we'll have some dark colors at the top and then lighter colors at the bottom. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of that pink. Oh, and it's also important to have a paper towel so that you can clean your brush as you change colors. Take a little bit of that pink, and notice how I'm taking just a little bit at the bottom of it. I'm not dipping into the whole paint. And I'm going to bring some over here and make a beautiful purple with that color and the blue. And I'll have this purple ready. See this, how it's just all purple? It's beautiful. And if you want it more concentrated, of course, you would take more color and less paint, and it would be darker. And then I'll just have a little bit of pink over here. Okay, so these are the colors that we're going to use on our sky. So your paper's wet. And now you're going to take your brush and you're going to load it with the paint. And notice how I load the brush with the paint. I'm just picking it up. There's a lot of paint on the brush. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to just swipe it across like this. Okay, see how I'm just swiping it across the corners. Just like this, big washes. Okay, just like this. And look at how beautiful what's happening there with the paint. And just maybe take a little bit more blue and drop it into the corners. Okay. Now take some of your pinky purple color that you made. And let's start adding it in the middle, starting from the middle, going across. And kind of give it a little wiggle.
Hilda, we've had a request from a resident. If you wouldn't mind showing the finished picture up closer to the camera so that they can possibly take a picture of it, just to keep it.
Oh.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps.
Okay.
Perfect.
So now we're going to add some pink in the middle here. Let's just add a little bit of pink there.
Hilda,
Okay.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I didn't
I'm
take
sorry.
a picture fast enough.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm back to mute.
Okay. So now we're going to take, look at that. Look at this. Look how beautiful. And you can move your paper around. Now all I have on my brush now is just the blue. And look at how I'm angling my brush so that I don't go this way and get into the mountains. And I'm just gliding it along. And just take some of that paint. And I'm taking more blue on this side. Just like this. Look how beautiful this is all happening. Now this has dried a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more pigment, less water, and I'm going to drop it in again, just like this. Look, big washes of paint, just like that. I like that. But I'm going to cover a little bit more with some blue. Of course, you're the artist. You can put whatever colors you want to put in there, you know, if you want to, like that circle there. And I'm going to make it darker over here on this side. So I'm just using a little bit more blue and just leave it. Now, don't go in there and start fiddling around too much with it. Just leave this. Just leave that. Okay. You all see that? Look how beautiful. And it'll dry a little bit lighter. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the snow right here. And this is what you're going to do next. So we've done this step here, the top part. And the next step that you're going to do is this right here. Little shadows on the mountain ranges and, you know, the snow slopes here. And to do that, we need to mix like a little bit of a grayish color. And so what you're going to do is the colors that you have here already on your palette mix, just take a little bit of that yellow, just a touch, and mix it in there. And you'll see that you'll get a gray. Do you see that? You can see how I made a gray. Okay. A little bit of that yellow, just the tip of it, taking it in there and mixing it in there, and you get this beautiful gray. This is what I love about using these three colors, is that you can end up making beautiful different colors. You can make oranges, purple. So here's my gray. And look at the sky. I just love what's happening. Okay. So now your brush is wet and you've got this gray color. And you're going to use the flat side of the brush again with sweeping motions of shadows. And this is what you're going to do. So here on this line here, we're going to do a shadow. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to touch up to where the paint is wet, because if you do, this color will bleed into that area. So we want to stay away from touching the wet paint. So here comes the shadows, and look at how I'm just dragging the brush. I'm just dragging this brush around just like that. Don't worry about the pencil lines. We can erase those later when they dry. And now I'm going to come over here this side and add a little bit more shadows. And I'm going to add a little bit here, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you can just make little lines over here, just a little bit there.
Hilda,
Yes.
we've had a request if we could slow it down just a little bit in between steps to give everyone time. That'd be great.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. So we'll do, and then if you're worried about having too many hard edges, you can just take your brush, clean it, and take this little hard edge and soften it with the brush. Just gently pulling that little line and softening that edge. Real soft. See how you can make the edge disappear, and it just gets a little bit softer there. Just like that. And while this is still a little wet, you can drop in a little color if you want. You can drop in a little bit of purple into some areas, and look how beautiful this looks too. You know, you can use your imagination. You can, if we have little girls in here painting, how about adding little pink colors, you know, in there for reflection of the sky, you know, that's coming in there. You know, you can make it fun. You know, the point of doing art is getting relaxed and just enjoying the process of it. You know, don't get too stressed out, you know, just enjoy it. Okay, so I'm going to try to slow down a little bit. I work fast because I have so many years experience painting, and I apologize if I do go fast. So now we're going to take the same gray.
Hilda,
and yes,
we had someone ask if you could go over again exactly how you made that gray color. What color you used to make that gray? That would be great.
Yes. Okay. So how we made this gray color was we had purple colors here mixed. And how we got those purple colors is we used the blue, a little bit of the blue and a little bit of pink in here. And what we did is we just took a little bit of this yellow here, just a little dab, and we brought it into this mixture here. And we mixed it around and we got this beautiful gray, as you can see here. See how we got this gray? Just like that. Just like this. Just mix it and you get this beautiful gray. And now my brush is loaded with the paint here. And I'm going to take it now and I'm going to add it to this side of the painting over here on this slope coming this way. And then I'll add a little bit coming this way. And then we'll put a little bit in the foreground. No, we won't do that. We'll just leave this alone until we, you know, do the trees and the bushes in here. All right. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. So now that we have the gray, I'm taking my brush and I have the paint and we're going to do this side over here, this slope. And we're just going to go under the line and we're taking the brush and we're kind of wiggling it down a little bit, breaking it down a little bit and just, you know, add it in a couple of areas. And again, if you don't like these hard edges right here, take your brush, clean it with water, dab it on your paper towel and take the point of your brush and just soften it like this. See how I'm just softening the edge? Just like this. And it's so nice that Harlan Ranch is recording this because you'll be able to go back and look at this again and try this again. And then I'm taking the color again and I'm going to come over here on this side and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just adding snow shadows here, just like that. And I'm cleaning my brush again to soften this hard edge. It's the clean brush and I'm just pressing the brush and I'm softening the edges. You know, you don't have to do it, but if you like, you can do that. And don't worry about pencil lines, pencil marks, they will be erased later. So at this point, your skies are probably just looking really awesome and you've got shadows here and, you know, we're letting this dry a little bit. We're going to put trees in here, bushes in here, and you're going to learn how to mix different greens. At this point here, if you wanted to, because it's still, you know, a little damp, you could take more blue and you could add it more to the corners up here if you like. And I will do that, but you don't have to do this if you don't like, but you can just watch because I don't know what kind of paper you're using. I don't know how it might react if it's too wet. This is Arches 140-pound paper. It's cotton, 100% cotton, and it's the best. I love it. I love painting on it. So I'm going to just show you. So I'm taking more paint and it's still a little damp. As you can see, it kind of popped up a little bit. And I'm just going to take my color again on my brush and I'm just going to just get the corners a little bit darker for a little bit more drama, just like this. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm just going to leave it just like that, leaving it. And you can move it around, let the colors bleed. They just added a little extra. And at this point also, this is still a little damp. You could go in there and you can drop in more colors in there. And I'll do that, okay? And again, this is optional. You don't have to do this, but if you'd like, you can. You're going to take a little bit of your pink with your blue and you're going to make a purple. And I've got too much paint on my brush, so I'm just going to roll it like this to take a little bit of that extra paint off the brush there. And I'm going to just, in some areas, darken up some areas. And again, I'm using my brush this way. I'm just going to drop in a little bit of this color in here, just like this. Just in some areas, those mountain looked a little rough. So by doing this, I'm kind of coming around those edges, those rough edges, and letting the colors mingle. And as you can see, it's bleeding out into the area where it's wet. And this is optional. You don't have to do this. And I'm going to take a little bit of this blue and I'm going to darken it over here on this side, just like this. Okay. just like that. All right. So now we're going to move on to doing these bushes back here in the back, this green, and then we'll do the trees, and then we'll do this sort of thing, and then extra stuff. And then I want to show you how to make a little card. So we have a lot to do. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean my little area here, my mixing area, because we're going to use blue and yellow to make a variety of green colors. So hopefully I'm not going too fast and I'm going okay at a speed that you guys are all able to hang in there with me. And I've got this little piece of paper here because I want to show you how you're going to mix different greens. And it gives your painting a little bit of time to dry. So with yellow, you're taking a little bit of that yellow, makes a little puddle over here, a little puddle over there. This is going to be for the light, and this is going to be for the dark. For the light, take a little bit of that blue and mix it over here. So you have light yellow and more pigment of blue with this yellow, you'll get a darker green. The more blue that you add to that, the darker the green will be, as you can see. You can see that, okay? The more yellow you add, the more yellow green it will be. You can see all these different green colors here. Okay, so more blue will make a darker green. And I'm just going to show you on a demo here what we're going to do with the bushes. And then we're going to apply it. I just want you to first see, and then you're going to apply it to your painting along these lines here. So here is a line that you have, your little range. And what I want you to do is just take what you're going to do is you're just going to take your brush and you're just going to put water, like just water, like the little bushes there. Then you're going to have your colors mixed and you're going to take some paint and you're just going to drop it in there and switch out a different color and drop it in there. See all this beautiful foliage with different colors? That is what's going to go on to this line here and right in here. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, we are going to add just water to a hillside right here on this side first. So let's just go with water, just water. And just move it around, you know, just imaginary little foliage, little bushes there. Just water. You can go up a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Okay, now I'm taking some of that paint that I mixed. I'm just going to use some yellow too. And look at how I'm using the point of my brush and I'm just dabbing. Now I'm taking a different color. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. And look, I'm just dropping a different color here. And look at how I'm using my point. I'm taking some of this blue, just like that. Don't overdo it. Just let the watercolors do their thing. Let them mingle with each other. Okay, that's just one side. So that was this side here. Now we're going to do this side here, okay, which will be right here, come in here. Same thing, clean your brush, just with clean water. You're dabbing, just clean water. I'm gonna go a little bit higher here. Just moving that brush with water, just like that. See how easy that is? It's so much fun. Gosh, I just love painting. Taking a little bit of this yellow with the green to make it more of a yellowish green. And I'm just dropping in the color. Now I'm switching out my color, and it's yellow, but now I want to add a little bit of this green color, and I'm gonna drop it in here. Now I'm gonna pick up a little bit of blue just because I want to change it up, and I'm just carelessly, not thinking about anything, just dropping it in there, making it look abstract, sort of, just like that. And I kind of like these rough edges because look, it looks like snow, you know, over a hill there. This has more of a straight line, and I'm not too happy with that, but that's okay. We're gonna not worry about that. Okay, so now that you have this right here going on, at this point, you can take the tip of your brush, okay, and you can add little imaginary trees. And I'm gonna demo right here first, and then you can do it on your watercolor paper. So what you can do is you can take a little line going down like this and start adding little, little branches, and you can make little trees there, or you can just do this. You can just go down just like that, and with your brush, just do little. Or if you have a thinner brush like this with the point, you can definitely do more detail work. You know, you can do more little detail work like this, little branches coming out, but we can do all that later. Okay, so I'm gonna mix a little bit more green color here, and I'm gonna mix a darker green with more blue. Okay, so I'm gonna add a tree back here, just a little tree. So I'm going with my point going down, and of course it bleeds where there's water. Here's a different way of making a tree also. You can just kind of do a little zigzag and go like this. See, and there's your little tree. You have a tree there. Let's do that again. Let's do it right here. Going straight down, come across, just a little zigzag going up. So simple. Let's add one here. That's all I want to do there. I'm going to move over here to this side now and put in a little bit more of these in the distant trees, which I'm loving. This is a different way. You can just take your brush strokes and go around like this. We will do that again. Let's put one over here that's a little bit taller. So let's just make a line going down, tip of your brush, just like that. And you're going to make little brush strokes coming like this, back and forth. So here's the first one, like this, bigger, wider, just like that. And then you can fill in the area with a different color. You know, you can kind of add a little bit more. You can dab in a little bit of color, cover some of those little spaces there, and just leave it just like that. See how beautiful and simple that is? Oh, I just love this. And we're not done yet because we're going to keep adding. You're building up your landscape. You know, you're still building it up. It's just this is the beginning. When I paint, you know, I paint in layers and I paint in steps. I leave it alone, let it rest, look at it, and see where it needs darker values, more contrast, that sort of thing. And you want to enjoy it. You don't want to do a painting in a hurry, and you don't want to be going fast. Okay. So at this point, hopefully everybody's got their little bushes and their little trees now. And now what I'm going to show you is how to add in the bigger trees right here. These trees here. There's one here, and I put kind of one in the back, and then another little one here. This is what I want you to think about, is having a focal area in your painting. And my focal area for this little demonstration is this little area here. There's a little, you know, foresty, greeny, nature looking painting right here. But what caught my eye about this painting was just what happened up here with the watercolors, the sky, you know, the colors, how they mingled and what they did. And I just really just love this. But we're gonna do the trees now. So if you have a pencil, you can use it. If you don't have a pencil, you can just use your brush. What I like to do is I like to decide where I'm going to add my trees. So I'm going to add one right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight down with my pencil, and I'm coming down past this, and I'm coming down into this area here where there's nothing here yet. So this will be one tree, okay? And then I'm moving over here, and I'm going to add another one right in between these two here. And I'm going to go, I don't want to go exactly across this one here. That's a no-no in art. You don't want to have anything lined up too much the same. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this one. I'll start it right here. And I'm going to go straight down. And again, I'm coming into the snow right here. Okay, these two are the same. So I'm going to come down and come down right here. And then we will add some broken branches in here, you know, some dead branches and some extra foliage in here, and we'll have a really nice painting. And then maybe we can have time to do a card also. So this is the base for the tree, and then, you know, you'll have your branches out here. This is what I like to do. I just sketch it in really lightly. It just helps. It just kind of helps me. And by that time, this right here will have dried a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to use greens again, but I kind of want to add greens that are darker than these values back here, because I want this to be more up front and be more of the focal area right here. I want this to be the star. So I'm going to start mixing my greens again, and I'm going to be using blue. There's a lot of blue here, so let's just use some of this blue. And, you know, I think I'm going to clean it first, because I want the colors to be a little bit more vibrant, because I think that I had a little bit of pink in there. I forgot I used some of that gray, so I'm just going to clean it, because you don't want your colors to be too muddy. You want your colors to be clean. So there, I cleaned my area. I have another paper towel. And I'm going to start mixing some greens now. And I'm going to be using some blues. Oops, I'm running out of blue. I'm going to use more blue, more pigment, less water, because I want this to be a very bright green. There, look at that green. It's beautiful. Okay, it's like a, so I'm not going to sketch in the branch, because we're going to use a brown to do the trunk. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing my branches out. You can just do like this. And then you can take your brush, hopefully you can see, and you can start doing these little and this takes a little bit of time. You can curve up your branches. More blue. This is just fun. What a way to spend a nice rainy day that's cold and And look at how I'm using my brush and I'm turning it this way. Coming down here. And you'll add thicker branches because you'll fill it in. I'm constantly moving my brush different directions all the time. Just like this, keep going. And then we will fill in more of this in here. And so now I'm going to come over here to this side over here. And I'm going to use the same colors, or you can change the colors. You can, make it a different green. It's up to you. You're the artist. So let's change this green. And I'm going to start this way. This is a different way that you can do branches. You just come in this way or this way. So easy. We didn't have to draw the little branches on this one here. This is just coming out really easy because I want you to see how many different ways there are making trees. So there's one way. Of course, that was a different style, and it was more of a bluish green color. So I'm using more blue to make it more of a blue-green color. And I'm adding a little extra now in here. So just keep adding a little foliage into your tree. Okay, now we're going to make a little bit of a brown color. And to make brown, hopefully you guys are hanging in there and staying up with me with the pace that I'm going. We're going to take a little bit of this yellow and pink, and you're going to make an orange. So you have orange there. You can see there's orange. Okay, take a little bit of that blue into the orange and you'll get a brown color. See that? Okay, I'll explain it again. Mix yellow and pink to get your orange first. Then take a little bit of blue and mix it in there and you'll get a brown color. Take the brown color and add it to your tree as a trunk. And you could even add a few branches in there if you wanted to. You can just add little branches. And we can use this color for the little extra foliage that we'll use in the front. And I'm just going to drop in a little bit of that color in there in different areas just to kind of punch it up with contrast and values. And I'm going to add a little bit in here too as well. A little bit too much. Okay. Alrighty. And you could add another tree back here if you wanted to. It's up to you. You could certainly do that. You can add another one back here in the distance. But I'm not going to show you that because I want to keep going and I want to keep moving with the lesson. So now we are going to add a little bit of extra snow in the front. And you can mix the same colors that you had here before and use the same colors, or if you still have them on your palette, you can put them in there. I'm just going to take, I'm going to mix gray again. I'm going to take the pink and the blue and a little bit of that yellow and mix a gray. There's a little bit more blue in there. There we go. And I'm just going to add a little bit of brush strokes in here to make it look like there's little snow hills. So I'm just taking my brush And just breaking them apart like this, just little brush strokes, just like that. And again, if you want to, you can take your brush, clean it on your paper towel, take that edge and soften it with the tip of your brush. Just wiggle it a little bit to soften it. Okay. You're going to take your brown color, and if it's not dark enough, you can take some of that blue and add it in there. A little bit of pink to make it a little bit darker. I'm taking a little bit of yellow to make it even darker, a darker brown. More blue will make it darker. Okay, so now I have a color that I can use for branches, and this is just demoing how you can make little branches with the tip of your brush. See how easy this is? It's almost like calligraphy. Just like that. And little grasses that are coming out from the snow. So here we go. We're going to add a little bit of, let's add a little bit in here. And again, it's up to you. You can use your pencil to help you. You can take it and you can, let's just do that. Let's just make a little broken branch in here. We're going to extend it out. We can add a little bit of grasses out here, maybe a little bit here. This just helps you, to give you some guidance. And I'm going to start drawing in the twigs now. And when you do twigs, you can press your brush, lift it up a little bit, and drag it, just using the tip. I like that, just like that. And I'm going to make it a little bit darker here at the base, so I'm adding just a little bit more darker color, just like that. Adding a little bit of grasses here, just there. But look how cool this is. This is already looking like a little landscape, a winter landscape here. I just like what's happening. And when this starts to dry, you can take a kneaded eraser. I don't have mine, but you'll be able to erase these lines. So I wouldn't worry about these pencil lines yet too much. And at this point here, you can take more green if you like, and kind of build up, your bushes back there. You can just take a little bit of green color. And, you can start adding a little bit more detail here if you wanted to, just like this. So do you see how it gives it an extra dimension here? And I'm also working on cleaning up the base of the snow line here by doing that as well. But, if you just add a little bit of extra layer, this is what happens. It starts to be more development. I don't think I'll do anything in there, but I'll add a little bit more over here. And I'm just adding a little bit of more of a value just because, I think it needs to be punched up a little bit in here. I'll leave that alone. Just like that. And if you wanted to add some rocks, you can take that brown. Let's do a little rock here. Just use your brush and, just wiggle it. Here's a rock, just like that. So I'm going to take a little bit of this color here, and I'm just going to add a little imaginary rock. Okay. What I also did is I added a little splatter here. Now in your kit, you did not get white, but if you have white paint, if you have white paint, white gouache paint, you can take paint on your brush and you can start adding a little bit on your tree if you wanted to. And that's what I did on this one here. I added a little bit of white, but you don't have to. What you can do is, and this is just a painting demo, so I'm going to show you what you can do. So at this point, you should have a little bit of a landscape, you know, going on. And, you know, at this point also, you can start building up your shadows. You know, you can add a shadow under this tree. You know, I'm just taking some of this gray here, and I'm going to add a shadow under that tree there, just like this. And I'll add one over here coming this way. And see, I'm just using the side of my brush. I'm just dragging it. You can take a little bit of that color too, and you can splatter. I'm just splattering, just taking some of that color, just like that. And if you wanted to, you could take some of that blue color and you can also splatter it, and it would look like snow falling as well. And just because this is a demo and an art lesson, I'm going to do it, but you don't have to do it. But, you know, I want to give you the option. And then I kind of want to move on to showing you a little card. Because I think this is, you know, you can make a little card. Okay, so here's just the blue that I have on my brush. And I really should be using a toothbrush, you know, where I can just splatter around, but I don't have it with me, darn it. But you can take your brush and you can just do this sort of thing. See how it's just like that. Huh? Look at the two versions. This is this one here and the difference. Okay. So now what I'd like to show you is how you can take what you learned today and how to make a little card. You know, like you could take this little painting here and frame it, or this one here and frame it. And you know how beautiful it would look with a nice frame around it. So what you can do is you can take a piece of paper and, you know, fold it in half. I'm going to just set this aside. And you can do the same thing. You can just take your pencil and make a little line coming across. And then you would be able to make a tree here, just a tree there. And I'm just going to show you this for demo purposes, and then you can decide to do it if you'd like. So we're going to do the same thing, kind of like what we did with that one. We're just going to take water and we're going to go across the paper. Just going across paper. Just with the water. Remember, this was the mountain here. And you're going to take your blue. And you're going to come around. Take a little bit of that pink, put it in the middle, or purple down here at the bottom. Let the colors mingle, let them play. Let them just kind of mix with each other. This you can, you know, you can do tomorrow. It's supposed to rain again, and you can paint all day tomorrow again. Have fun just to paint. Okay. I'm going to take that same color and I'm just going to add a little bit down here to make it look like snowbank. And then this is the shadow here of the mountain right here on this side. I'm just going to add, and look at how I'm using the side of the brush. Letting the colors, that was the hard edge, so I'm softening. A hard edge here, you can soften. You'll be able to go back and look at this video. Now I'm going to make a tree right here. And I'm going to just take some green, leftover green that I have here. Just go like this. Let's just do the easy version. For my young ones that I have probably in class, you can just take your brush and start from the bottom, going across, going up, just like that. And you can take your brush, and you can add little branches sticking out. And then you can drop in deeper colors. Take some of that other color and start adding a little. I think that we can add a little bit more blue to that tree because we need to make it a little bit more dominant. But with all this rain, we are going to have a lot of snow, and hopefully you will all be able to go to the mountains and see all the snow and take some pictures and use your pictures and make more paintings. You can paint snow now, and you can paint mountains, and you can paint a sky. But look how simple this is. This is just a simple little card, and I'm adding more blue up here at the top, coming across. I'm going to add a little shadow under the tree. Just like that. And in order for this mountain to show up a little bit better, I'm going to add a little bit of a darker purple back there. So I'm mixing that blue and this beautiful pink color to make a purple. And it's a little bit more intense purple, but you'll see that the mountain will pop forward with the value being a little bit of a darker color. And I clean my brush, and I'm using the point, and I'm just softening that edge, wiggling it, letting the colors bleed into the other colors up here. And I'm going to drop a little bit of splatter here, just because I feel like it needs a little splatter there, like that. And let's add a little bit more blue up here at the top. And you have a little winter wonderland card that you can give someone. You can write a little message on there. Happy birthday, missing you, hope you get well. So I hope that you enjoyed this lesson and that you will continue to paint more. I sure enjoyed teaching you, and I miss seeing everybody, and hopefully one day we will be able to be back in class. So, I hope that you continue to paint. This gave you some ideas. You could also what you could do is you could cut this part out and then glue this when this is dry onto another card, and that would, with a different color on the back, and that would be just a beautiful little painting that you could have and give someone or frame it. So I hope that you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope that I slowed down a little bit towards the middle part of the lesson to help you. And if you have any questions for me, I would be glad to take questions now.
Does anyone have any questions for Hilda? If not, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then you I'll unspotlight Hilda so that way everyone can kind of share how they've been working on their project for Hilda to be able to see. So any questions? sure I'm not missing anyone. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.
No questions?
No questions tonight, Hilda.
Oh,